MDCT, MDCA remains an important player in Parliament, in the Senate, where Monzora himself luckily sits together with 25 or so others. Only the MDCT, MDCA can be in the Senate. The CCC cannot be in this Senate until the dissolution of Parliament. It's not possible, even if vacancies come up. Monzora can put whoever he wants. He can even put his cousins and uncles and nephews there in the Senate. A situation that is different in the National Assembly. After the by-elections, there is this very strange situation where we know that there are most of the, well, not all certainly, but most of the 54, if we remove the 18 who had been elected in 2018 and have come back as CCC, they now know that there is no rational MP who had crossed the floor with the Monzora, who's sitting there thinking they can be re-elected in any configuration of Monzora, post-Congress that he's talking about, or and so forth. It's impossible. The name of the game is now run. So they are there nominally. But it's strange that there are others who are CCC who are wearing Monzora's colors in Parliament. Why they have not resigned boggles the mind. It's just one of these strange things in Zimbabwean politics, where you see politicians doing things which are useful to themselves as individual politicians or leaders, but not useful to the constituencies that they represent. You have to show some evidence of standing by and for your constituents. It's a small place. It's one of the 210 if you are a councillor, or one of the 1,958 if you are, if you are a ward councillor, it's one of the 1,958, and if you are an MP, one of the 210. Why are you not prepared to stand with that small thing? No one is asking you to stand with, for Zimbabwe, the big thing, that constituency. It is very important for a politician to stand with and by their constituencies, because the best politics are local. That CCC MPs think that it is somehow strategic to be MDCA in Parliament when you are known that you are a CCC. It's strange. It's stranger that Monzora now has lost the courage to wield his axe and put those guys out. He can't now because everybody knows. It renders the whole Parliament not a serious institution. Now, let me move quickly to the implications from Monzora and his two MDCs to the CCC. Most pundits have by and large credited CCC with having won the by-elections that we are talking about, merely by dint of having won 19 out of the 28 that were contested. While this is understandable, makes sense, political sense that is, it is nevertheless problematic in that by-elections are first and foremost defined by which party held the seat before the by-election and is therefore defending that seat. It's common cause that Monzora threw away the seats because the incumbents made it clear that they were not loyal to him or his state-sponsored electoral theft. In response, Monzora literally just said, to hell with you, I can do without these 20 seats. He did not believe, nor did his handlers believe, that he had a chance in heaven of winning any one of those seats. But of course, they didn't know that it was going to be a festival of zeros. but they certainly didn't give him a chance of winning. Now, the fact that the winners of the seats in the 2018 election, who were recalled, defended their seats, means that these were not free seats, so to speak. These seats, the 20 seats which were on offer on the 26th of March, had owners, those who owned them, the 2018 owners. And the fact that those owners defended the seats, colored the by-elections, because they were defended today or on the day of the by-election by the people who yesterday were the MPs and so forth. They were therefore not free seats. In the circumstances, the owners successfully defended 18 out of the 20 seats that were on offer, meaning they lost 2. Their party managed to grab 1 seat away from their port, that is the Kwekwe Central seat, which they had not won in 2018. The fact that they lost 2 of their 2018 seats clearly is a major challenge that should concern them going forward, with implications for the 2023 general election. And in my view, what makes this issue particularly challenging is that an MDCA, or rather, because they ran won those seats as MDCA in 2018, means that they are now CCC candidates and therefore did not perform well in the parliamentary elections. They were not only outperformed by ZANU-PF candidates, except in Chegwood West, and I'm talking about 2018, where Zek cheated in broad daylight in favor of ZANU-PF's Dexter Nduna, but they were also outperformed by their presidential candidate, Nelson Chamisa, who won 85 out of 210 constituencies, where they won only 63. He outperformed them by 22 constituencies. This is very, very important. The performance of the MPs in 2018 was not, and I'm talking about those people who now call themselves CCC. Their performance in 2018 was not as good as Chamisa's performance. He did better than them. And even where they were winning, in a number of cases where they were winning in the 63, he was also winning and getting better margins than them. That is the cause for concern going into 2023. In simple terms, CCC has a strong presidential candidate going forward and a weak slate of parliamentary candidates. And while supporters of Chamisa might say, yes, we always tell you, the president is better than you. It is dangerous for a presidential candidate to have a weak slate of parliamentary and local authority candidates. In fact, this is one of the challenges that Chamisa has going forward to win the presidency. He will need strong 210 parliamentary candidates and 1,958 ward council candidates. Without these, it becomes a tall order. But the real challenge for CCC ahead of the 2023 election is to be or not to be a brand new party. That is the question. So far, all structural indications are that CCC is a recycled MDCA launched in 2019. A new brand in politics is not declared. It is formed and seen. Politics is praxis. People can say, oh, strategy, blah, 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 blah. The strategy is what you see and not what you keep in your pocket. If that is the plan, well, to say we can declare and then things will happen, the jury is still out and the clock is ticking and time is running out. CCC has clear clear and present issues it needs to address regarding its organizational capacity. You cannot, it was okay to run for the by-elections with that aura of invisibility, popularity, only new kid on the block. 14 months' time, there is no new kid on the block. You cannot win by whatever means without an organizational capacity. And you cannot win by whatever means without a structural capacity at the grassroots level. No one needs to preach to the CCC people. They have been around at least since 1999. And they know that one feature that made a big difference for the MDC, as it was then, were those affiliated organizations from the trade unions to the community-based organizations, the CSOs, NGOs, the ORAPs of this world, the student movements, and so forth. And at the moment, the surrounding environment of CCC doesn't show that going to 2023. And it's difficult to show that if you don't have the organizational capacity and structural capacity that I referred to. Lastly, on this, it would be remiss of me not to comment on the Congress issue. It's entirely up to the founders, I agree. The founders of a political party can, and it's up to them to decide who they propose to put as their best fit forward and how they propose to do that. So a Congress in name or in substance is not a political necessity for any political party to have ahead of any election. That position is no-brainer. We all know that. But be that as it may be, if or when a political party presents itself as a democratic alternative to trigger what it calls a democratic breakthrough in the country, then ipso facto, that raises legitimate public expectations that it will not reinvent the wheel, but that it will do what a zillion of other democratic parties before it have done or under similar circumstances. So, no serious democratic party intent on winning political power has ever established itself without a constitution or without a launch meeting of one sort or one kind or another, equivalent to a Congress. It's useless to bother about the nomenclature. Call it whatever you want. It's mind-boggling that a political party can claim to exist without a constitution. If you don't have a constitution, you don't exist as a political party. You are anything else, but certainly not a political party. It's just unheard of. As for Congress, in 2018, the MDCA, as it then was, got into the general election as a political party without going to Congress and without a constitution. Yet, it could have gone into that election as a new political party with a constitution. It only came up with a constitution and went to Congress in 2019. What then later transpired is history. Some of the nonsense that the country has been subjected to following that Supreme Court judgment could have actually been foreseen and or avoided by the MDC. So, if CCC enters the 2023 general election without a Congress and without a constitution, what might happen after the 2023 elections, depending on their outcome, is anybody's guess. But what we can say is that in Africa, you can cross the same river at the same place with the same result, twice.